wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Good morning, Coffee Club. It's nice to see everybody this Tuesday morning. I hope everybody is doing well. We've got a lot to talk about. And I have got to be out of here. I got to go pick up my groceries at 11 o'clock. So I've got to tighten everything up right around 10-ish. So we are going to open the phone lines as promised for about 45 minutes so people can have their say on what they believe is going on with this outfit that Summer Wells was in. You know, I was sitting here looking at it, and then we'll go into the language of letting go and stuff. But this is just to get you guys thinking about something. So I was thinking about it. You know, we're all saying, you know, heat stroke, all these different things related to Summer Wells as to why this outfit was put on her. But are we missing the thought that this outfit was put on her in June, this hot outfit, and it's long sleeve and long pants? Is there something more behind this outfit? We're going to discuss that a little later. So good morning, everybody. Radmilla, I hope you are doing well. She is freezing in Australia. So we want to send her good warm vibes, especially for me being here in Florida where it's nice, sunny, and hot. So hot, I don't even want to mow my yard, but I need to get out there today to mow the yard. It's nice to see you. Amanda, girls, nails out. Nice to see you. Cool Gamer, nice to see you. Guidance and life with the TLC. Thank you for being here this morning. Good morning. Good morning, Brenda from the Alberta Queen, all the way from Alberta, Canada. Anissa, good morning. B. Willett, another person from London, England. It's nice to see you here this morning, Connie. Lenny, Karen G, nice to see you. What else do we have here? Of course, it just popped up on me, so sorry, guys. It does that. I don't know why. Evelyn, it's nice to see you. Patty Ponytail. Johanna, nice to see you. Katie. Oh, we got Katie Byrne in the house, so we may have a troll here. Not sure. Is that Katie Byrne? My Katie Byrne? I don't know. Anyways, we'll see. Be nice. Moni, nice to see you. Harley's World and Joanne, nice to see you guys. Nice, nice, nice. Hi. We are having nice warm weather in Florida. Yeah, nice warm weather. It's hot, hot, hot. Yeah, you got that right, Connie. You got that right. So I haven't read this morning's meditation, the language of letting go. Many of you guys know. We've been incorporating some of the readings into this channel for a little minute now, and I just find it so peaceful. I really do feel like it starts our day off right. So I'm going to read today. Again, this is the first time I'm reading it too. So if I stumble across on words, please forgive me. I find that I do much better. It's sunny in England as well, B says. And, you know, sometimes I stumble across words and stuff like that. But when I read it, I know what it says, but I didn't read it this morning. So I apologize to you all. You've got all the time. June 7th, you've got all the time you need. June 7th, right there, right there. If we believe our relationships or our jobs are finite situations, then it becomes easy to feel stressed if things don't go the way we planned in the time frame we expected. The promotion doesn't come in time. And our careful career plan is off track, and the relationship problems become huge, dramatic monsters, a series of issues that eat away every spare minute. But if we believe that we are living in an infinite time frame, stress begins to dissipate. If I don't get the promotion this week, maybe it'll come next month. Who knows? I may not even want it by then. Some of those big, monstrous relationship issues just sort themselves out if they're not constantly held under a magnifying glass. And the moment spent with our loved ones becomes more enjoyable because we're not continually working on the relationship. When we behave on a finite scale, we can get so wrapped up in the details of a few moments that we cannot free ourselves to enjoy the next moment. When we start living on an infinite plane, it's easier to relax and let the universe carry us down the river, bring us to all the lessons and joys that we need. God help me relax and know that if a situation doesn't come to pass today, eventually it will work itself out. And I've got all the time I need. I love that. I love that. I'm genuinely interested. Okay, Katie. I was just curious. Good morning, Cindy. Good morning. I saw that name and I'm like, how did I recognize that name? But I recognized it. Good morning. It's nice to see you. I called The Language of Letting Go by Melody. Oh, yeah. It's called, yeah. So it's The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beattie. I've had this book here. I thought it was only about a decade. When I looked at how long I've actually had it, I've had it for about 15 years. So I used to sleep with this book in my bed. I needed it that bad. Every morning I woke up, that was the first thing I wanted to read was this Language of Letting Go by Melody Beattie. I think we could have like literally a whole channel designated to Melody Beattie and all the wonderful books that she does create for the public. It's nice. And I'm still reading all this stuff, related to the dogs that I printed off. We had that discussion yesterday. For those that are joining us this morning, hi, Kiki. It's nice to see you. GM has been caught in fraud with summer funds. Yeah, I'm not getting into all the drama. I don't know what's what. I know that there's some issues and stuff like that. And I hear, I see that Ziggy's on and has been on for like 3.5 hours this morning. And, I think, just in my humble opinion, that, YouTube has enough, I hate saying this, especially for people I like, but enough drama on here. I don't think this channel needs to contribute to all of it, to be honest with you. I'd rather be talking about cases than talking about creators, because I think it takes the focus away from the true reason why I came on YouTube to begin with, is to talk about cases that cover true crime. I never anticipated there would be so much, craziness and drama and stuff like that. And I personally do not want to be involved in it. So if she has, I'm sure the court of public opinion will come down on her. I know that there's enough people out there that she's done a heck of a lot more wrong than me, that are probably all over this story. So also would not want to step on toes or take away from their story. Good morning, Stephanie. Amy Pebbles. Jackie Blue, it's nice to see you. Robin, it's nice to see you as well. Bonnie's Journeys, I love that. Yeah, and I have to agree, but and maybe we would get more clicks and stuff in here as well. Good morning, Stitches. It's nice to see you. I love that. Guys, listen to this. Stitching, bitching, and true crime. I love it. I love it. Joyce Bryan, it's good morning to you as well. Graham James, nice to see you as well. So for those that are just coming in, many of you guys know we went over yesterday. It was kind of, it's not really, it was a little more of an educational type of video yesterday, just discussing the dogs and, what are their limitations. We found, hi, good morning, Luna. Nice to see you. We found, the limitations that was associated with, dogs, whether it be cadaver dogs, air scent dogs, tracking and trailing dogs. And we went over a few other dogs, which do not have to do anything with the Summer Wells story, which before I start, this is just information. Summer Moon Utah Wells went missing on June 15th, 2021 at the age of 5 years old. She turned 6 while missing. She is 3 foot tall, 40 pounds, blonde hair, blue eyes. If anybody has information to her whereabouts or have seen her since June 15th, 2021, they are asked to call the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations at 1-800-TBI-FIND. That's 1-800-TBI-FIND. Many of you guys know we are doing a prayer/candlelight vigil for Summer Wells on June 15th, 2022. It marks her 1-year milestone of her being gone, her missing. And so far, everything is really coming together beautifully. I met with the volunteers Sunday evening on it was StreamYard, but it was just not broadcasted. And we got a lot. Okay, and that reminds me, thank you, Guidance. For those that would like to join the Facebook page to get information on all the updates related to this service, this event, please look on this Facebook group. They're keeping everybody up to date. They're doing a fabulous job. They're doing an amazing job keeping everybody updated and really working hard behind the scenes to make this a wonderful event for all that will be attending. So, yeah. Yes. And this time is very, it is getting a little costly, especially like I'll be driving and, our gas costs right now are through the roof, but which was an unexpected. When I first started doing this, we knew the gas prices were rising a little bit, but I wasn't expecting, all of this. But either way, it was budgeted. I've got it budgeted, well enough that we will be there, and we'll be there with bells on. And we've got a lot of wonderful people have donated supplies for this event. So just to give a rundown, we have Guidance, as well as Suzanne, and what's Eve's? I forget Eve's link. Guidance, if you want to throw down Eve's link, that'd be nice as well. But she's helping me, or helping the event rather. And we've just been going through checklists and making sure everything has been accounted for and taken care of. We are still working on a few minor issues. Also use points for hotels to save money. Great point. Yes, true crime with Eve. She's been donating her time, just like Susanna and Guidance. Dolly has, provided the balloons, the purple balloons, and the lanterns. Share with Listen to Voices Behind the Wall, donated the glow sticks, and she's most likely going to be, because she just submitted some more funds for this event, and she'll be purchasing also the helium tanks needed to blow up all the balloons. So we want to give a big shout out to all those that have supported this event. We have some people in chat that have also supported this event in their own way. But they do not want to, they don't want the recognition, which is very nice and sweet of them. But just thank you for everybody that's come together on this event to assist and help out. Let's see here. I've been hearing that there's been some stuff going on out there in the YouTube streets, drama, TM, other things. We just have to keep our sights on, the cases and on the information that we give you guys. So that's where my focus will be today. This is related to Summer Wells' outfit. And I want you guys to ponder just something else. We've been looking at this outfit for some time. Hey, Melody, nice to see you this morning, girlfriend. And so we look at this outfit and we've all been, like, I can't believe they put her in an outfit, that hot outfit. Then we started looking, maybe she had a heat stroke. What if, I'll throw this out there. What if she has injuries under that? And the reason why they put her in that outfit was to cover up other issues going on. Would that explain why they put her in a hot outfit, a long sleeve outfit in the middle of summer? Would that explain it? I'm curious. I have been focused, and it took me a little minute, and it was like this light, when we talk about that light bulb that goes off. Tennessee has brutal heat. And I've been looking at this photo, we all have, for some time. And I'm just scratching my head as to, what other reasons, we're listening to them. We keep talking about how all of our information that we've received, that we've been relying on, from the timeline to all this other stuff, we have been relying upon statements made. Statements made by whom? By Dawn Wells, Candace Bly, Candace Harrer, and Hunter, primarily, is where we're getting our timeline from. We're all saying, hey, we don't believe what they're saying. We don't, we believe some of it, but we don't believe all of it. And we all kept scratching our head like, who would put a child in this long sleeve, long pant suit with no AC in the car? And everybody's saying, oh, well, maybe she died of heat exhaustion after they had that clothing change. And some of the things didn't make sense that Candace said, talking about how Summer had to sit on this pillow because her mom doesn't like the seats getting wet in her vehicle. But we kept hearing how she changed into this other outfit. So why would she still be wet if she changed into this other outfit? But when was this other outfit? When did she change into this other outfit? And then it brings you back to what there's been other people talking about, possibly a second trip to the water hole that day as opposed to one. And we're going to go into the whole second water hole thing probably tomorrow, maybe the next day, because I've been really aching to get Cher and I together, and I may do that tomorrow instead, because I feel like I just keep getting further and further behind, and I really want to have that conversation. I think that's really eye-opening about that interview, but we will work on that. We'll figure it out. So I'm either going to be talking about the possibility of the second trip to the water hole tomorrow, or we may actually have a special live coming to you. I'm not quite sure yet. I haven't had an opportunity. I was supposed to call Sharon. I just didn't. So I've got to get that taken care of today. Put it on the list of a million things to do today. But first, I've got to do this, and then I got to go get my groceries. But, I kept looking at it, and we all kept scratching our heads like, why would this lady put this outfit on? Where in the world did this outfit come from? And so I'm just going to play this for you guys, and then we're going to have a chat, and then I'm going to open up the phone lines a little bit so people that want to call in can call in and give their thoughts on this, because it is a perspective that I haven't heard brought up. I've gone through a lot of videos from a lot of different creators that have been covering this case, from creators that I don't necessarily agree with, to creators that I do agree with, and a bunch in between. And so when I was looking at this, I thought, I was in bed. I'm like, what would make a person put a child in summer in something like this? And I thought, what would make somebody put a child in an outfit like this in the heat of summer? What if, everybody's talking about the ear and the purpling of the cuticles and stuff like that. What if she was, I don't know if she may have got injuries, or if maybe she was laying down and, maybe stuff started pooling on one side of the body. I don't know. I don't know. But good question, Crystal. I don't even know that. Yeah, but and I get that, Amy. But why would somebody put a child in these hot clothes in a hot car on a summer day? We've been, discussing this, but we never came to a determination. We just thought, this was the only outfit in the vehicle. That's what she put it on for. What if it wasn't? Because they forgot fishing poles, they forgot towels. What would make them bring an outfit for her to change into? And not only that, but a hot outfit. It wasn't like they packed up, an extra pair of underwear, an extra pair of shorts for the hot day, an extra tank top to change her into out there when she got out of her swimming clothes. They're saying to the public that all we had in the truck didn't have towels, didn't have fishing poles, but we had this long sleeve jacket and long sleeve pants to put her in to take this video. Let's watch the video. It's just a few seconds. Let's go ahead and watch it. There we go. Oops, maybe I gotta play here. Sorry.
Still got her arm up?
No.
Oh, that's what I was trying to get at.
So again, that was the video. Sorry, let me get this out of here. Sorry. Oops. Open it and just oops. I didn't realize that was just going to pop off there once I got done doing it. Let me see if I can pop it back on there again. See if I can pop it back on there again. See here. There it is. Hold on.
Still got her arm up?
I didn't realize that on this VCL, on this one here, there we go. It actually pops off once the video's done instead of just staying up. It just pops itself right off. So there we go. Let me put this back up. We're going to go back. So that outfit right there. What do you guys think about that? Let's see. We got some good points. What if she never went swimming? That's a good point. That is a good point. I got to say, Pebbles, that is a good point. But, and it comes down to the videos. People are even talking about whether this particular video was recorded on that day. And not only that, but if you look over here, you see those Skittles and stuff and this orange drink. They're trying to say these Skittles were there for a really long time, but they don't. They look pretty fresh on here. They look pretty fresh. And I'm wondering why they didn't stick to Hunter's clothes, his wet pants. You remember he had to go in the water because he had to go pick Summer out of the water. So I was wondering about that. But what are your thoughts? She would have been on a pillow if she ever was immediately. She would have been on the pillow if she was ever was immediately after filming. The video was a couple hours after the swimming hole. So people are saying it was a couple hours after the swimming hole. Where did they go? Where did they go? They're even under Dawn's own admission, law enforcement has been, has went back to them at least a couple times to discuss the timeline and to have it fixed. For those that are coming in, please don't forget to go out and like this video. Also, if you're not getting notifications that I have gone live this morning, please go back and turn your bell to all. If it is on all and you still did not get the notification, please unsubscribe and resubscribe, and that should fix your issue. Yep, I'm live. Nice to see you, Emma. And also, yeah, and this is another thing. Let me pull this back up here. This is another thing I have a problem with is, the photo that we've been passing around is this one right here. That's the photo of her. Of what she actually disappeared looking like was two totally different looking people, guys. This is the beautiful, bright child that people have been looking for. And I'm sorry, but when I look at Summer, when she was reported to have disappeared from her yard, and we started seeing the real photos come out after seeing this one. This is the one that we saw all over the place. And when I actually saw an updated photo, this was many months ago. I think it was back about the time I got involved in the Gabby Petito case. It was, I want to say September. I know that this case had been going on along, since June, but when I started seeing the new photos and really paying attention to this case, it was, around August, September. And when I looked at the photos of what Summer Wells looked like when she disappeared, and this beautiful photo that had been, submitted to everybody across the country, my heart broke. Because that did not appear to be the child. The one that's on this flyer, and is still on the Amber Alert flyer to this day, in my opinion, doesn't look anything like Summer. Summer, and this is not to disparage this poor baby's name, but she almost looked like a cancer patient when she disappeared. She was pale. She was much thinner. She had no hair. To me, it broke my heart. Yeah, I agree, Mary. I agree. Well, that's the thing, is that's what they're saying, that it's old candy, Pebbles. But the problem I'm having is Hunter got in on that seat. He would have been wet. Those Skittles would have, the dyes and those Skittles would have stained the seating, and it would have stained his wet clothing because, as you know, sugar breaks down in water. So the candy is kind of almost, it's almost insignificant. But is it insignificant? Because it could imply, just work with me here. Now I want to make sure everybody knows that are coming in here, we are speculating here. There is no evidence. We are just speculating on a different perspective of this case. This is not by any stretch of the imagination to be misconstrued as fact or anything of that. We're just having a conversation here of possibilities. So for all those that are coming in, that's all we are doing right now. There is no facts that are going to be presented. I mean, I guess this video could be considered fact or evidence or whatever. But other than that, I mean, we're just having a conversation about Summer's outfit that day. Is there more behind the outfit she was wearing? Is there a reason why a long sleeve and long pant outfit was put on her as opposed to her being in, or even being changed back into? Remember, this is what we heard. We heard that Summer went over to Hunter's house with her mother, and she was changed into her swimsuit in the living room of Hunter's home. Candace says that she was in her swimming suit prior to her getting there. But we know she wasn't just running around in her swimsuit, because we heard she had shorts and a tank top on, right? So why wasn't she put back into that outfit with the shorts and the tank top? Why was she put into this long sleeve, long pant outfit the day she went missing? And, there's been a lot of people speculating as to what could have happened to her that day on June 15th, 2021. And we've all been looking at this outfit saying, and automatically thinking, well, maybe she had a heat stroke being in the car all day and all this other stuff, her mom putting her in this outfit. But I never heard anybody question why she was ever put in this outfit in the first place. Could there have been injuries on her that they were trying to cover up for the purposes of this video? Could this video be part of that script that we've been discussing? I'm curious as to think what your thoughts are. So hot and wet. Yep. Yeah. It's sad. No, it's not. You're absolutely right. Lenny B, nice to see you. So I'm going to open up. I'm going to pull this down. I'm going to open up the phones for a little bit. Like I said, I'm not going to be live for too long. I just wanted to, Cotton Candy, it's nice to see you. Great to have you in here. Verbal Obsession, nice to see you as well. Why did they put... Yes. And I think that was a lot of the questions even law enforcement had at the time. I'm pretty sure they said, do you have any recent photos of your daughter? And she went through her phone and got the cutest photos possible. And I have to think that law enforcement was probably equally as shocked as the rest of the country that we are looking for this beautiful, bright, young, happy-looking child when, in the grand scheme of things, this poor baby had her head shaved and was much thinner. And when we hear the story of the day, we know this poor baby had no food in her poor little body. And Chris McDonough even asked her, when you went to Sonic, did you get any food? Oh, no. Just the Slurpees, no food. And I don't know why she was so adamant. Maybe they didn't play the tape through. I don't know why she was so adamant about acknowledging that this child had no food that day. But it seemed like there was a reason, because she was so adamant about making sure everybody knew that they didn't go anywhere to eat. Even when she got the groceries home, she never once stated that she made any kind of food for Summer, herself, the boys, or Grandis. Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, I'm not quite, I have to pull up my, I got to pull up. So don't start calling yet, because I have to pull up the app for the calling. Let me keep that up there. Why not? Hold on a second. Okay. I just check one other thing. So we are fully converted. I still make my beautiful thumbnails on the Dell, but we got both screens running off the MacBook Pro. I'm still, adjusting to the MacBook Pro. There's still a lot of quirky little things that I get into, like when I open two different web pages and one covers up the other, and I kind of lose the web pages. So I just have to keep clicking until the right one pops up. I don't know a way around that. I know that there is a way around that. I just personally have not learned that yet. So I'm still working on it. But hold on, I think I passed it. Got to remember how to turn this on. Okay, there we go. Let me just read through here, and then Crime Bee, nice to see you. It's funny that you say that, because there's been a few people that have said that, but she at some point, somebody acknowledged that she was in that outfit that day. But again, it's coming from the people that we're relying on for information that we believe are not telling us the truth. So how reliable is the information that we've been relying for related to that entire day? There's only, I only looking at statements and evidence, or, things of that nature that have been corroborated at this point, because I don't know who's lied about what. And we're going to go into, like, I see Jody Sue Brown. She's been out there, making videos. It seems like she's now making the cycle again of being part of the news and everything like that. So I'm gonna have to look in there. But I honestly don't believe she has anything to do with this. I don't believe she has any information related to this. I believe she is just, on the coattails of this story. That's really truly what I believe. I don't believe she has any relevance. If she had any relevance or had any information, certainly she would have came out with that information by now. I mean, she has a YouTube page where people are watching her, and she's too busy staring at the screen for 5-10 minutes at a time. If she had any valuable or relevant information, Jody Sue, now would be the time to come clean. You can call 1-800-TBI-FINE and tell them your story, the truthful story of what you know. Will she? I don't know. I really don't. Chadwell, I think eventually, I don't know if she will be found before somebody is charged. I don't know. Because they have done a lot of ground search. I mean, I look back because, we're preparing for this vigil, and we got to have some talking points. And as we know, I'm going to be recognizing how hard law enforcement has worked on searching, to find this baby girl. And so I'm looking into the work that they have done, and it is just, they covered a lot of land. And that land out there is rough terrain. So they have not yet found her. And then that brought us into our conversation yesterday about the types of dogs that they use, because we keep hearing, it's like, I just want people to have the information that they need to have, because everybody is peddling, law enforcement keeps telling us that there's no evidence of this abduction. And other people out there on YouTube world that obviously may think they know better than law enforcement. And I'm not trying to say that disrespectfully. I'm really not. But I mean, we're here a year later, and we're still hearing that there's no evidence of an abduction. And I would think a dog running a trail, with a scent dog running a trail, footprints being, in and around the area, shoes being found in and around the area that could possibly or potentially belong to Summer, would show, one of two things: either, evidence of an abduction, or evidence that she has walked off. And they are not coming out and telling people that. What they're telling people is that there's no evidence of an abduction, and there's two types, stranger danger or targeted. They're not telling, they're telling us that they're looking at, foul play and the real possibility of her walking off, again, without shoes. And early on in this investigation, these footprints in these purported shoes, or shoe, was done back early on in this case. I would think if it was relevant to the case, law enforcement would have come out and said, everybody in this area, we have a footprint in here that she may have wandered off. Please do extra work on clearing your barns, your outbuildings, all this stuff. We do have evidence that she was in the area, by scent or by footprint or by shoe, or we never got that from law enforcement. What we got from law enforcement is there is no evidence of an abduction. We are looking at foul play and the real possibility she may have wandered off. We have to also remember she had no shoes on. So going through that terrain would have been awfully difficult. Now, if she had just wandered off and law enforcement was out there and law enforcement was doing, their searches, the ground searches, which, guys, many of you don't know, they have went over some of these areas multiple times. Many times they've searched some of the same areas just to check and recheck to make sure nothing was missed. So, we hear about other young children that went, walking a dog and got lost in the woods. They were found. They were found within 36 hours. She's never been found. She's never been recovered. She is just, it's like almost she just vanished. So if we had these dogs that went down this dog trail and followed her scent, then I would think that would be evidence of one of two things, and one of two things only. That there was a real possibility of her just wandering off down that road, which they've stated to Jonathan Lee Riches. Leslie Earhart responded to Jonathan Lee Riches in a post that he posted, I want to say, maybe in December or January, because we were hearing that there was a lot of chatter related to a small child walking alone between the hours of 4 to 7:30 in and around the Beach Creek area. He made that post. He tagged TBI in it. Leslie Earhart responded and said that that was incorrect. So, what would cause a dog to go down a dog trail following a scent? And we discussed all that yesterday. So for those that did not have a chance to watch that video, please do. We went over the different types of dogs that could have been searching for summer. And one was air scent, one was trailing and tracking, and one was cadaver. And we watched some videos about the training that goes in and what are the variables that could cause a dog to be hot on a trail and not be on a trail. And believe it or not, it is environmental. So the wind can actually move a scent from one area to another. So just because the dogs went down this one trail doesn't mean that scent was specifically from summer that day, or that was the route that was taken because of these other environmental elements that can cause issues with the dog's searches. So that could explain why these dogs went down this path. Maybe they were following a scent that had moved from one area to another. It is possible. We found that out ourselves. We listened to it ourselves. Go back and watch the video for those that have not had a chance to replay that video. In my opinion, it was a little dry. I got to be honest with you, because I don't do those types of things, but it was definitely informative. Yeah. Yeah, well, that was, and I believe they may have left her in a car as well. Zizi, good morning, by the way. But my thing is why would they put her in this hot outfit? Are we asking the right questions related to this outfit? We've been saying, I can't believe that she's put her in this outfit. But could she have put her in that outfit for a purpose, for a reason? Could there have been other injuries on that baby that she was trying to hide for that video? Or, to go into a store, or, who knows what else? But it just seems like there is more to that outfit. Why would a mother put their child in a long sleeve, long pant outfit in the middle of summer on a hot day? I mean, the whole purpose that they went out to the water hole anyways was because it was a hot day. So it makes you wonder. And again, this is all speculation. This is not anything related to fact or anything. We're just speculating, thinking outside of the box, thinking out what else would make someone put anyone in a long sleeve, long pant outfit on a very hot day like it was that day. Tennessee hot, as it was explained to Chris McDonough. So let me get these the phones up. I think it is already up. The number, hold on here. I'm late, just woke up. It's okay, Christine. Northern Light, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Lolo, nice to see you. Yeah, and don't forget to hit the thumbs up, guys. And we do have a Clout Chaser line on the Bullhorn Betty merch store. I'm going to be creating some other merchandise here in the near future. I just need to take the time out to do it, and we'll get some more stuff out there so you guys can buy your own line. Yes, I think so too. I think there's other reasons there, but I just don't see her having a whole lot of information that is relevant to this case. I think law enforcement has dismissed her. I think the majority of YouTube and the people that are following this case have pretty much dismissed her. And it's like, when people start getting dismissed, all of a sudden, different things start happening, drama starts circling, to get attention back on them. And it could very well be that as well. So I really don't know. Yeah, it's hard, Lolo. It's really, really, really hard because we want her found, we want her brought home, we want her to rest in peace. In my opinion, I'd love for nothing more. I mean, I want to make sure that I'm clear on this. I would love nothing more than this baby to come back healthy, and alive. But the reality that people are so have to have their safe spaces and all these other things. They don't like listening to reality or things that aren't comfortable. And the reality, and statistically speaking, she is not going to be coming back. And people beat me up all the time for saying that. But everybody wants facts, but nobody wants to listen to facts. And I'm not necessarily talking about the people that are watching right now. I'm just talking about in general. When I sat there and realized that, 9 days after this investigation, they were pretty much signaling that they're looking for a body. Sorry, it's upsetting to some people to hear that, but that's what they were looking for. Oh, that's not what they said. You're right. Come on. I mean, it does. I'm not even going to get into it. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But the bottom line is if you look at statistics and you look at all the reports that FBI has put out and published or went on the record to talk about missing persons and why it's so important, and at what point they consider the person most likely deceased, it's alarming. And the bottom line is this child has passed those markers. So does it mean she's dead? It does not mean she's dead. Does it mean she's most likely dead? Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So, it is what it is. I understand some people they want to have hope. I still have hope. I'm just going off statistically speaking. She is most likely not here. In my heart, I don't believe she's here. That is just my opinion. Many have differing opinions, and that's okay. Okay, yeah, I can go ahead and put up the chat number now. We've got the chat up. The phone line's up for those that would like to come and call in and just tell us what your thoughts are. What do you think about this outfit? Do you guys think there's something more there with the outfit? Do you think it's just what she had in her vehicle that day? Or do you honestly believe that maybe this outfit was used to cover up maybe other injuries on her? Northern Light says she'll call in, but she said she just woke up and may sound like a frog. Oh, that's okay. I had my alarm set off because I haven't been getting up as early as I used to get up. I don't know what's going on with me, but I went to bed again super, super early last night. I was in bed by I don't even know. And so I set my alarm clock for 5:30 this morning and still didn't want to get, I used to be able to wake up when I first got on YouTube. I used to be able, 4:00 in the morning, I was awake. Didn't need alarms, didn't need this, didn't need that. And then our time changed and it just threw me off. And I have never recovered from this last time change. I haven't. Buried her in the footer of that new. All right, let's see what we got here. This is Betty. How can I help you?
Hey, sweetie. It's ZZT.
Nice to hear from you, ZZT. I love hearing people's voices. When you hear them online or see them talking online, you always wonder what they sound like. But it's nice to hear from you. So tell me what your thoughts are.
Well, I have several. I've been watching this since the first Amber Alert. And it's my opinion. I've got several philosophies.
Mm-hmm.
One, the child got bitten in that dirty water by a moccasin, and they didn't do anything about it. And she had extremity swelling, and they put her in that outfit to hide it. Also, the theory about dressing her as a boy wasn't. I never thought of that. The other philosophy was they left her in the car.
Yeah.
She was sleeping in the car, and Candace went in the house and took her nap and forgot the child was even in the car. And we know how it is here in the South,
Mm-hmm.
how hot it gets in a car. I think she woke up and found her in that hot car.
Yeah.
The other idea is, I don't believe she ran off. I don't think she walked off. I don't think anybody came up on that property and got her. I believe the other philosophy was she got into her Grandis's medicine in the backseat of the car. Or whatever they bought at the hippie house. She got into it. And those are my ideas.
Yeah, there's been a lot of speculation about this, her being in the car. And it's kind of funny that you say that, because yesterday while I was in, and no, it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before yesterday, when I was planning this week and what we were going to be discussing this week, I started thinking about that, because this nap was introduced. And it was one of those things where it passed my mind. Did they accidentally leave her in that car? And everybody, because we believe, obviously Hunter was under the influence when he arrived home. So therefore, we know Grandis came out of the hospital, which she was probably shot up with a very strong pain reliever, which probably kind of got her a little groggy as well. And then you got Candace, which stays intoxicated. And it made me wonder, maybe after they got out of the car, they ran in the house and thought Summer was behind them. And little did they know she was sleeping in the back seat, or forgot she was sleeping in the back seat, shut the car up, went in, took the nap, hung out, and came out and realized she was gone. It is possible. And then I started looking at the outfit, and I'm starting to say, well, are we asking the right questions about the outfit? Why would Candace put that outfit on her, as opposed to her just staying in her bathing suit? And she's saying she's cold, but where's the towels? Why do you wrap her up in the towels like normal people do?
Exactly. The thing is, Dawn, on one of his interviews, says she was just being a good mom and dressing the child to keep her from being cold. Mm-hmm. Come on. They already said the car didn't have air conditioning. Okay? Yeah. Hunter said that on the Chris McDonough interview. Okay? Mm-hmm. The car didn't have air conditioning. How could that child be cold?
Right.
There's more to the story.
And then not only that, but why did they put her back into her original clothes that she went out with before they put her in a bathing suit? Like, they had another pair of clothes. Why this hot outfit on this hot day? And if she was cold, wouldn't you think, like, I remember my mom or my dad or both at one point in time take their jacket off and just throw it over my arms. Like, this whole thing was zipped all the way up to her neck.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing is, why lean her up against the daggone milk jugs?
If she was cold.
Why lean her up against the milk jugs? That doesn't make sense. They're lying. Yeah. And I think everyone on this chat have their own ideas, but we're all going towards the same end, no matter what. It's like the game of Clue. Colonel Mustard in the kitchen with the bridge.
That actually might be my next thumbnail. I might do the Clue thumbnail. We might have a Clue session.
The fact of the matter is, no matter what we all try to conjure in our minds as the cause of the child disappearing, the fact of the matter is the child is gone. Mm-hmm. The child cannot be found. The parents are the grandmother, the mother, and the father and the brothers
Mm-hmm.
are all the last ones to have ever seen her. Okay? There's something wrong in the soup.
Yeah.
There's something, as my mother used to say, something smells in Denmark.
Yeah.
It doesn't add up. But we're all correct in the fact that child is not going to be found. I even had another theory that they left her in the car, either from a snake bite or heat or whatever. He buried her in a freshly dug footer before the concrete was poured.
Dudley made it a point to let us know that there was that one of the houses they were working on didn't have footers poured at the time that were being poured.
Exactly.
It's definitely possible, and people actually, some of the audience members had also said, why don't they do that ground penetrating sonar and see if there's anything there? But we don't know because law enforcement hasn't told us what they've done.
Exactly. So that's all I had to say, honey.
All right. Well, you take care, and God bless you.
I'm traveling, so I'm on different time ranges. So I try to. I've got one phone that's on time from home, and one phone on the time that's here, and I'll be traveling again tomorrow. So.
Gotcha. All right. Well, it's nice to hear.
I don't know if I'll catch your show tomorrow or the next day, but God bless you. I'm so proud of what you do.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
So there's one other perspective, definitely something right up the alley of what many of us discuss. So I saw that we missed one call as I was accepting that call. So if you want to call back in, there we go. Now we got another one. Hold on. It's different from that. This is Betty.
Betty?
Yeah. Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm watching you right now live.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I'm talking to you. I love you so much.
Oh, thank you. Who am I speaking with?
This is Brandy. I'm from Dayton, Ohio.
Hi, Brandy.
Hi. I'm watching your live about the outfit.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
I think exactly what you think. I think they're trying to cover up markings. Because like you said, why else would they put hot or, long sleeve clothes on her on a hot day like that? If that video was even taken that day.
Yeah. And that's another thing, because we're relying, and I keep going back and when I was going through the timeline and everything, which I spent hours, building this timeline. And then there was the revelation, that JLR brought out about this reportedly. Everything's reportedly. And I go back and start reading these statements and start listening to the statement. And that's all I hear. And it's like, we're taking all this information from people that very well may have lied to law enforcement and have lied to the public. And we're saying, this outfit's on her. What was her mom thinking? She probably overheated because she put this outfit on. And then I thought, but nobody's asking, is there another reason why this outfit was ever put on her in the first place?
Right.
What say you?
I've also been thinking, I personally I think that she was poisoned.
Mm-hmm.
I think they gave her something to eat or drink, and that had poison in it.
Yeah.
And I think that she was sold to whoever that cornbread mafia is.
Yeah.
Because I've been hearing about, there's been a lot of, because I didn't even know what the cornbread mafia was. And I heard it was like something to do with a bunch of.
Yeah, hold on with that, because we did actually have the cornbread mafia author on our show. And he pretty much disputed the cornbread mafia was in Kentucky, not Tennessee. Yes. And so he actually lived in the same town the cornbread mafia was. He actually got his writing certificate to tell the story of the cornbread mafia. And we actually brought him on our show and interviewed him. And kind of, now, could there be another criminal element out there? Possibly. But to label them the cornbread mafia would have been incorrect, because the cornbread mafia doesn't exist in that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just always thought that was strange on the Dr. Phil show. As soon as that got brought up,
Mm-hmm.
she lost it and totally quit the interview.
Yeah.
So I've always been eerie about that.
Yeah.
This is crazy. There's so much things that could be possible, and it's sad.
And truth and justice prevail brings up a point, and I myself have brought up the same point, and I don't know if it's he or she, I'm assuming it's she, so I apologize if you're not. Why does everyone ignore the boy saying she went underwater? He had no reason to lie about that. They all evade that happened. And I agree with that. And I even pointed that out and did a whole skit and brought in that interview from Chris McDonough. And we went through that statement. And I'm thinking, everybody's blowing it off like she didn't go underwater, but yet he's out there screaming in the water, "Summer, can you hear me?" He discussed about reaching into that water and pulling her out and putting her over his shoulder. And, the description was that of what you would anticipate a description of a drowning or a potential drowning to sound like. And everybody has kind of dismissed that, with this dry drowning theory that something could have happened to her later. What do you think about that?
Actually, that's the first time I've even heard any of that.
Yeah, it was on the Chris McDonough interview with Hunter, the very first one he did.
Was it? I missed that.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to do another live on that, because sometimes I do a live, a one and done type thing, but maybe we need to explore that a little more. Maybe I will do that sometime this week or the beginning part of next week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I listen. I know a lot of people skeptical of them people, but I watched that Reverend Donna.
Yeah.
And that what was her? I can't think of her name. The electronic medium.
Yeah, she comes. The electronic medium comes in here and there. I haven't seen her here in a little minute, but I actually followed Reverend Donna's map.
Yeah, I know. I watched that video that day. You found
that hill, that little mound. Yeah, it was a little suspicious.
Yeah, I thought that gave me chills as soon as I saw that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I noticed on both of them, on their shows, there's always something about a shed mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. For some reason, that shed at the bottom of that hill, just the look of it. I mean, there's just something eerie about that shed.
Yeah.
Whether she was there at one time and moved, I don't know. But there was just something about that shed that gives me chills every time I see it.
And actually, that's making the cycle as well, because Chris McDonough just did something on the shed, and I believe I saw something. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but Jonathan Lee Riches did something about the shed as well. I know that when we were there, Marissa, she's got brass ones. I got to tell you, people have their opinions of different creators, but I'm telling you, I was chicken poop. I wasn't going on the property. She got her butt up there and she looked. I mean, she actually looked. She took no fear. She went there. She looked in. It looked, and she actually recorded it. And I wonder, I hope she releases it. She did try to record it again, or she released it, and I can't remember, because she's got her recordings of her, actually the video of her inside that shed. She wasn't in the shed, she was at the door, but she recorded the inside of it. And there's been many people that felt like that shed had some relevance. The only, but I personally don't know what relevance it could have, because if the hounds and dogs were on that property, most likely they checked that shed as well, I would assume. They said they checked every single outbuilding on that property, every single crawl space and all this other stuff. But again, we discussed how effective dogs are, and they are effective and they do save lives. But there are things that do affect their performance, such as wind, weather, and other environmental issues that do affect, the success of what they're able to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing I don't understand too is how come they're not allowed how come nobody's allowed to search their property?
Yeah.
Like that just don't make no sense to me at all.
Yeah. Good questions. Well, let me go. I've got somebody else trying to call in, so let me run and let me have somebody else come up. And I hope you call back. We're trying to do this call in to discuss because, again, everybody has their differing opinions and different perspectives. May gel with other people. It may spark some new thought process. So I really do. I am enjoying this.
Justice for summer.
Justice for summer. Absolutely. Thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you so much, Betty, for your time. It was so great talking to you.
Yes,
and I'm so happy that you're doing that visual for her. I so wish I could be there so bad, but I'm not going to be able to make it. So.
Well, I'm pretty sure somebody will be recording. Again, it comes down to the internet access, whether it'll be live streamed or not. I'm not sure if anybody's going to, we're going to have music out there and stuff like that. So, I don't know who's going to live stream it, but as soon as when I get out there, if I find out, I will make a community post as to whose channel to watch for that live stream.
Okay. Well, thank you, honey. You have a blessed day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. I see that we have a couple other people trying to call in. I apologize about that. Try back. I know some people, it looks like some people have been trying to call. Sorry. There we go. This is Betty. How can I help you?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Betty.
What's your name?
This is Stephanie Hammond.
Oh, Stephanie, it's nice to hear your voice. How are you doing, my dear?
I'm very good. How are you?
Good. What are your thoughts on the topic of conversation this morning?
Well, first off, I think my live is going way slow because it's not caught up with the phone.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
Used it first. That's why I was like stunned. But now I've asked a few times if anybody else saw this. Like, gosh, it had to have been like maybe a month ago that, every morning I go through my Facebook and my YouTube and see all my community posts or whatever, and I had seen, and I don't like to say this because I'm not quite for sure, but I feel like it was Evil Exists. That
I love Evil Exists. I love their little shorts. I really do.
Oh,
I have to say they're very creative, very clever, and pick up on a lot of stuff.
I like it that they're quick because I like my long ones and I like my short ones too.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on what I'm doing. But I could have swore she had posted a message between her and somebody else, and they were talking about Hunter backing up Candace's car and actually hitting Summer, and Jody Sue saw it.
Mm.
Yeah, and I read that and I was like, wow. Like, I don't know if it's true. I just seen it on there, and nobody else seen it, and I don't know if it's still there or not.
If it was up on the mountain, it's possible that something could have happened there without anybody seeing it. Because to be honest with you, they're the ones with the bird's eye view, not the other way around. Like their house is. When I first got there, I didn't even know. Like I wasn't looking up.
Right.
You know.
But that makes sense, though. I mean, I'm not saying that that's what happened, but if theory of that's what happened, that makes sense why Jody Sue's so much involved. And why Hunter is like stunted quiet, or went to the shaking or whatever he did.
But would a neighbor really stick their neck out that, like, I don't foresee myself being that like, I love my neighbors. Don't get me wrong. I do.
Right.
We have a good,
you don't love them enough.
I don't love them enough to put myself in legal jeopardy. I don't.
No, me neither. Unless the drugs that were involved came from her.
Yeah. There's something definitely going on. And of course, now we're back to, did something happen on the 14th or 15th? And I really do believe something happened to her on the 15th as opposed to the 14th. But
I do too.
We really don't know because, again, when you look back at the information and you put other pieces together and realize that all the information we're relying on is coming from people that we know have no problem being untruthful.
Exactly. And I have never in my life seen a case that is so full of weirdness
That's an
and
understatement.
lies.
Yeah.
What was that? I'm sorry.
I said that is an understatement. Weird is an understatement.
It is. That is an understatement. I mean, I just can't believe it. And I just can't believe all the weird twists and turns between the cops and the people that live on the hill. And then you get the YouTube drama in there. And it's just I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I tell my boyfriend, they are going to make a movie about this.
I do. I do believe so. I believe
so too. Because I have never seen a case that YouTube was so involved with. And I bet you in the end, YouTube is going to solve it.
Yeah. And that's, I understand that social media is a double-edged sword, for law enforcement. I do acknowledge that. I do understand. I do understand their frustration that comes with it, but at the end of the day, if you have to work harder to get to the result, who cares as long as you get to the result, as long as you get to the ending, that's what it's all about. But when you have a case like this, the idea that nobody's going to speculate, nobody's going to try to figure out, especially with them not even, like, we just had a little boy that was missing in Montana. And can you believe that outside of one Facebook page, there was literally nothing informing the public that a 3-year-old child was missing?
See, that's crazy. And you're the one that enlightened me on the fact, like, more cases of children go unsolved than solved. And I cried that day. I was like, that is
well,
so
I don't know if
sad.
that's a right analogy. So they do,
or maybe
like, say,
you said it differently.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. Yeah, but there are children are more likely to be injured and harmed by their parents than a stranger.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yep. That's what you said to me. And I'm just like totally floored by it all. Like, it just makes me so sad. And especially is that, that parents hurt their children. Like, I got 3 of my own running around right now.
Right.
And they drive me crazy.
Yeah.
But I love them, and I would never, I couldn't imagine hurting them or anybody else.
Yeah.
It's just sad.
Absolutely.
And it's just sad that we have all these cases about children, and it's just like you said, that nobody heard about the little boy in Montana.
Yeah. I think his name was Riker something.
Riker.
Yeah. Outside of a Facebook group that I was, sent, I tried to do checks on Twitter, checks on the news, checks on just Google searching. Nothing was available for this poor boy. And of course, thank God he was found safely and he was found unharmed. And we are very beyond thankful for that. But at the end of the day, nobody knew.
I think us as a society, like, not us, but, as a whole, we really there is things that we need to fix. I mean, there's things that we need to do better on, just like parents. Yeah. Like, every parent can do better than their mom and dad. Like, we need to do better than
absolutely
the generation before us.
Yeah.
And,
we've got to teach our children, this is a new, children being taken and disappearing is not new. It's starting to become a little more overwhelming as our population in the United States grows. It's the rule of large numbers. So the more people you have,
and I think the more, it does have to do with social media, and because we do get information faster, and we, it's so out there now, like, especially Summer Wells case.
Right.
Like, people ask me, like, my mom wanted to start watching the Summer Wells case, and I go, don't do it.
Right.
She's like, why? I think it's too deep of a rabbit hole. I was like, you have to go back a year.
Yeah.
And I was like, to start watching about it. I was like, I can't even explain to you the things that are going on.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, and that's what it sucks. Like, a couple people have asked me about the case, and I just tell them, like, you can read about it, but it's going to be hard to understand.
Yeah. Too many twists and turns, too many rabbit holes, too many people that were thrown in the mix. And I keep telling everybody, in my opinion, that, no matter how many people that look good on paper that could have potentially went up and took her, is not going to make sense, because at the end of the day, you can never explain the behavior of the parents, ever.
No, you can't. And that I think that floors me more than anything else is the ways the parents act. Like,
Yeah.
your child is missing and you're making YouTube videos.
Yeah.
You know,
And being drunk on everything and screaming out on people's podcasts, I have 7 alibis, you have none, you're going down, B.
And I have never I actually seen Don Wells with a tear in his eye. I mean, I don't know if it was a real tear.
No, I have never seen that man with a tear in his eyes. And you know what? In Crime Stories Obsessed did a clip, and I wish I would have known where she got this clip from, because I would have ran it and repeated it and repeated it and repeated it. And it was Don talking about, how we have to be realistic here. The chances of Summer coming back alive are just not there. That she was probably tortured and
I've seen that.
And he went on, and I'm thinking, how can a man say that without absolutely breaking down, thinking of what could have happened?
The first time I saw that, he went into
specific detail. And I almost broke down crying listening to it, and I'm thinking, how can this man sit there about his own child and not shed a tear, not break down, just be so matter of fact, just be so callous and cold in that statement?
Interview done super close after she was missing.
Yeah, he gave up. He gave up on finding her. I think law enforcement must have told him probably about the same time that they were looking for a child that could be the size of a legal paper. I think they told him at that point.
The laptop.
Yep. I think they told him at that point that, the chances of her coming back and her coming back alive was not good.
But as a parent, you'd think that you're going to hold
always
hope.
hold
just
out
like that
hope.
Grandma did, that Kylie lady, or I forget her name, but the lady that lost her grandson. I never heard her once say, "Oh, he's dead."
Yeah.
And just like this, I've told you about the skeleton boys here in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
The mom still believes they're alive. And I've never heard the mom say they're dead. And the mom and the grandma, they to this day, and it's been 12 years, in their heart that they're still alive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why I do not understand the parents of Summer, because first, like I was getting ready to say, I have never seen Candace share a tear or any type of compassion over her daughter, except for on Dr. Phil.
And that was not crying. Anytime she has ever cried, even on her shell, it's been because of her thinking about her. It has not, her being interrogated, her having to go through this, her. It wasn't about Summer. She didn't cry about Summer.
I was told I wasn't going to have to be interrogated again. Who cares? Your daughter's missing, and Dr. Phil just invited you on his show. You should totally be grateful.
Yeah. You're getting national attention for your missing child, and you're ripping your
and they bumped it.
You're ripping your microphone off because you feel like you're being interrogated. People are going to ask you questions about that day. That doesn't mean you're being interrogated, and it makes me wonder, why did her mind go straight to that?
Right, guilty conscience. I mean, what if I'm so interested in human condition and what we do and why we do it, and I mean, in all my speculations of life, people only act that way when they're guilty or they know something, Dr. Phil said.
Yeah.
And it's just the saddest case I've just ever seen in my life. I bought a picture from Scotty's Skull just because I never want to forget this little girl.
Right.
Even my girls, every day they're like, did they find her? Did they find Summer? Because Summer reminds me of them.
Yeah.
So that's what got me watching her. I mean, my girls just blonde hair, blue eyes, so that's why.
Yeah.
She reminded me of them. But it's just sad, and I hope YouTube solves it so we can stump the police. And again, because isn't that how Gabby Petito was found?
Gabby Petito was found because Red, White, and Bethune was driving in that same area and actually caught her van on their dash cam, so their GoPro, and they were able to at least identify where they were around that time and the specificity of the location of that van, and were able to do some searches and found Gabby from that. But yes, YouTube was involved in that. There's YouTube or social media involved in quite a few high profile cases that were solved by the use of social media. So,
and I bet you the police can't stand that, because they want to be the police. They want to solve it.
Yeah.
And
it's not. I think people just have a natural propensity to want to help, and I think that's what it is. And we all just want, and not only that, but with all the downtime that we have, it's a puzzle, and we like putting pieces together. And if that helps, then it helps, in my opinion.
And true crime and like all that stuff is like the biggest watched thing on like on Netflix, on YouTube and whatever. And it goes with exactly what you just said. We're just people trying to solve the crime, and and we're bored and we have downtime.
It's interesting. It's fascinating. It's mind blowing for people. It is. It makes you really think. So, well, Stephanie, I appreciate you calling in. I got a few other.
I got to talk to you.
Yes.
You guys all have a great day.
Yes, and call back anytime.
I will. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye. All right. So we have a few other people trying to call in. So I wanted to open the phone lines to them. Hi, Demetrius. I hope you're doing well. It's nice to see you. That's the problem. These mothers that allow abuse or abusive are self-centered and no compassion. That's a good point. Yes. But there's a lot of domestic abuse does screw with somebody's head. It really does. And people have to take into consideration. We listened to Jose, the late Jose, and, he described how Don was. He was the ruler of that roost. People knew, they knew what was going on. This is Betty. Hello? Hello?
This is Betty.
Hello? All right, so we'll wait until somebody else calls back. I'm sorry, whoever called. This is Betty. How can I help you?
The problem, these mothers that allow.
Oh, you're going to have to put down your. Hello? Hey, how are you? Who's this?
Hey, Miss Betty. This is Alicia calling from Trenton, New Jersey.
Oh, nice to hear from you. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, I just have I have a question for you to start with.
Yeah.
I'm not too familiar with Tennessee law. Like, I'm originally from Florida, born and raised in Ocala.
Yeah, nice.
And we moved to Jersey, so I'm not too familiar with the law. Now, since Candace and everybody left the hill, and there's nobody up there, would it still be considered trespassing if there's nobody to tell you to get off the property?
It's kind of funny that you bring that up, because I was I had a conversation with a friend that was saying the same thing. It's like, there's no, even if they have the signs, they still have to tell you you're trespassing and ask you to leave. And if nobody's there, would that apply? And I said, like I told my friend, I'm not going to do it, but I see the point. But I see the point that this person is making. And it's funny because you said the same exact thing. It's like, nobody's there. Who's going to tell you to get off the property? And
like, my first thought was take a splatter gun up there, like, a paintball gun, BB gun, whatever you have. Like, that's legal because they're legal here in Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Take out the trail cams. Nobody will ever be able to see you. Come back later on that night and do your thing. Who's going to be there to see you and tell you to leave?
Right. It's kind of funny that you say that, because this is not the first time I've had a conversation like that. And, obviously it's a touchy situation. I'm not putting myself in legal jeopardy. I would love nothing more than to go on that property and look. And if they're not there, what does it matter? If they know nothing is there at this point, what does it matter? I don't see anybody going up there and taking their stuff. I personally don't want anything that they have. All I want is to find where Summer could be. And,
it might be a little, breadcrumb or a little clue, or just that little key that might just break this thing open, just sitting on their coffee table, or, you know, just lying around in a pile of clothes or something.
But what if law enforcement already has all the information and they're just waiting for the forensics to come back? Because
I was thinking the same thing, because I first started watching like true crime through the Orrin and Orson case, Sincere and Cranston. And for the amount of time that it took them to even, you know, just bring it to the light was almost a full year, if not a year and a month.
Yeah. I think it was 14. I think it was 14 months. I think it was a total of 14 months before they had to actually face justice for what they had done.
Yeah, and they made sure that they had all their I's dotted and all their T's crossed.
Yeah.
You know, they may be doing the same thing with this.
Yeah. But some people just don't like, you know, charging people when the body's in absentia. They feel uncomfortable unless they have a slam dunk case where they can put
it's been
all the pieces together.
Like, they have people in jail for capital murder 1, and all that without a body.
Yep, they sure do. They sure do.
But, I mean, like you said, to make sure that it's a done deal, you would want that body, or any type of DNA. You really don't need a full body. You just need any little speck of DNA.
Yeah. And it could be, you know, if let's just say for argument's sake, let's say that, you know, she didn't get out of car. Let's just put this in a practical term. Now, this is not, I just want to make sure everybody knows this is not factual. This is not based on factual information. We're just speculating here. Yeah. But what if they did leave her in the car? What if she did pass away in the car? Once they did the forensics of that car, they would be able to see that there was an unnatural amount of body fluid, say, because when you go, everything just kind of goes. People don't realize that it's not.
But if that was the case of what happened, you know, and they did do all that, wouldn't the car been impounded and they wouldn't have access to it anymore? Would they be able to drive it afterwards?
But we don't know whether that happened or not.
True. Very true. Very true.
We don't know what I can tell you. The crazy thing for me is when we were out in front of Collin Knapp's house with Kathleen Moore when she went missing before she was found. I was kind of surprised because he had a truck, he had a lawn business, and he had a trailer for the lawn business and his Cadillac. And I was surprised that none of his vehicles were impounded. Even with Brian Laundrie, when they actually impounded the Mustang, they had the Mustang turned back over to them, I think, within 24 hours after impounding.
Wow.
So I don't think we would have ever known what they actually did. And with the FBI being involved, I would think that they would be able, with the technology FBI has, potentially be able to process that entire car or all the cars out in front of their home with their teams there on scene.
Yeah. And I just wanted to say one more thing. I have the utmost respect for police. I have police in my family. You know, we're a family of police. But with a small town police department, I think in some way, some form with this case, somebody's pockets are being lined.
Yeah. It's possible.
I mean, that's only my opinion. Yeah. I don't live in that type, I don't live in that area. I don't live nowhere near it. But I know from being in different places, and around the United States, small-time police officers and officers, might take a little bribe here and there to keep their mouth shut.
Yeah, and I would believe that.
All of them.
Yep. And I would believe that, but I think what's keeping everything, the checks and balances, is the TBI and the FBI, because they could care less about the people. I mean, I shouldn't say they could care less about the people in those areas. That's not what I'm meaning. But what I'm meaning is they could care less about any type of corruption. They don't care, who Don Wells could be in that small town, because Don Wells is a small fish in their big pond. And so I think the checks and balances for this investigation would come from TBI and FBI. So, and I do believe corruption exists in all counties and all cities across the United States, even the good ones.
Absolutely.
but it is part of, politics, and it shouldn't be, but it is.
No, it shouldn't, but it is. It
Yeah.
goes. It's worldwide. It's not even just in the United States.
Right.
It's worldwide.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody likes money, and they find the easiest ways to get it.
Exactly. Bingo. You hit the nail on the head. Well, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it. Please call back.
Thank you for taking the time to speak with me.
Absolutely. It was fun. Thank you. Thank you for your perspective.
You have a nice day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So we've got a few, I'm loving it. We got a few people that are calling in, giving their perspective on everything that happened. I watched an interview of a professional tracker that found the little boy. He made a few very good points. The volunteers destroyed evidence that the professional trackers needed to follow. Oh, wow. This is Betty. Who am I speaking with?
Good morning, Betty. It's Northern Light.
Oh, nice to hear your voice. How are you doing, my love?
Thank you. I'm doing well. So in the beginning, my original thoughts about this were either it was an accident at the swimming hole or at home.
Mm-hmm.
And then I heard Reverend Donna.
Mm-hmm.
And I know even though it's not gospel, I don't take it as gospel, but, it does carry more weight for me. And that leads me down all kinds of rabbit holes.
Mm-hmm.
So, she's, from what I've gathered, she's seeing multiple people involved in it. So then it makes me wonder, well, who are these multiple people?
Yeah.
And then how could this have actually happened? How would they have made this happen?
Good points. Good points. What are your thoughts about that?
Many. Like originally I'm starting to think more about Andy and Fred and, the lights, and it just leads me into all these different directions.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it had to be somebody close, somebody that knows the area, knows the family, knows when Dawn's going to be gone, those types of things. And then after the fact, my belief is that Dawn knows something, but in my opinion, it was after the fact.
Yeah. Do you think that maybe they didn't get any outside help? Because with Candace, Dawn, and Grandis, they have 3 adults right there to help, cover up anything. Do you think they would have gotten outside help?
Do I think what?
They would have gotten outside help?
I don't know. I'm not sure. It's just, everything is so crazy to me, but I do, there's a lot of talk about Jody Sue and,
yeah,
whether she's lying or all this stuff, but
I can tell you she's lying.
Yeah.
But about what is the question?
I do believe that she heard something.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that's always stuck with me. Whether, there's always truth in something.
Yeah.
And when I hear her talk about that scream, we've all been there. We've all, had instances where, something might have been on the verge of happening and you have that panic.
Yeah.
When you hear a scream, that it's
Did
not
you see?
anything.
Did you see her text messages? I actually put them up on one of my videos. That scream that she heard, that she started talking about in November to the news media outlets. Back when it happened, she was texting with Bernard, and I have the text messages. And that scream was never a scream. She was sleeping, and a noise woke her out of a sleep, and she didn't know what it was, and she blew it off, didn't say anything. It wasn't until 5 months later that noise became an animalistic type of scream. How does that, when you hear it placed in that way, what does that make you, how does that make you feel?
Ooh. Well, I guess my immediate thought is, as time goes on, stories can change.
Yeah.
So.
And I think that's the reason why Ronnie Lawson said that scream was unfounded, is because they did the data dumps, they did they did subpoenas on stuff, and I think that law enforcement got a hold of that text message between her and Andy and realized that she wasn't being truthful, because she tried to say she was hyper vigilant, she was up that day because of property issues and this, that, and the other. But when you look at the actual text message, come to find out she was woken up. It was at 2:30 in the afternoon that a noise woke her up, and she never texted at 5:30. when she purportedly heard the scream, she was actually talking to her children about something at that time, because she was texting saying, I'm talking to the kids right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
No, I guess I think I heard something after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
I get bits and pieces sometimes,
Yeah.
but no, I did not realize that that had evolved over time.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know.
There's so many twists and turns in this story. It's hard. I trust me, I get it.
Right. It's a big mess, and we need answers. I wish we knew what Ellie knew.
Yeah.
But, obviously we know that they have to keep it close to the vest.
Yep.
For anything that comes down in the future too. So
yeah, I mean, I understand people. I understand the what I do, and I understand that it can cause problems, but it's still part of it. Getting stories out there and getting cases out there is what many people have been doing for many years. It used to be the media that pried into it. Now it's social media that's prying into it, and more so than the media. And so I do realize, they do have to keep information away from the public for
Mm-hmm.
integrity purposes. They have to have the integrity of the case intact, and that's what
Right.
we want. But we all have our part to play, whether it's bringing a news to it, I respect law enforcement, but I still have to question, like, why are they withholding all this information from the public? We know it's the integrity of the case, but is everything that they're withholding from the public really for the protection and the integrity of the case? That's my question.
And I have watched, Chris McDonough's videos over and over and over. We've seen them replayed over and over. And still there's so much that I hear that either it's being distorted or I completely missed it the first time around.
Right.
So I feel like I really need, especially where age is concerned.
Right.
Like could it be that he was messed up after the fact just because it turned into such a huge circus?
Right.
I think that alone for a teenager would be enough to, I try to think of myself at that age, and something this traumatic, and then you have people questioning your involvement. I mean,
right.
What does that do to a person, But I don't know. There's so many questions left to be answered that I just pray someday we find those answers.
Yeah. Yep.
And I would have loved to have been there with you that day that you found that weird spot.
Yeah, and I may go by to visit it to see if anything was done with it. Was it searched? I mean, if nothing more, just having the dogs go out there. I know anything that law enforcement has to do is a process. It's not as easy as just saying, hey, guys, we need a dog out here to sniff around. It's going through all the red tape to get that dog out there to sniff that one spot.
Right. And I get, boy, your restraint had to have been something when you came upon that, because like I said, I would have dug that thing up immediately. And then I start thinking to myself, but had there been something there, if there is something there, you would have disturbed it. And there goes any evidence or, I don't know. It's
I agree.
So frustrating. But to me, I think, like I said, we have all these different speculations and theories and things out there. People want to say accident, or that, Candace or Grandis did something, blah, blah, whatever. But I think maybe, I don't know. To me, like I said, I think Reverend Donna has more weight for me than anything else. And then, like I said, that leads me to think, well, God, how could something like that have happened?
I think
what would be that
I think Jonathan actually has, he did a video of that day, talking about where they were when they dropped Hunter off. And even in Hunter's statement, they said that they were going to be going, that Candace told him that they were going to a water park over in Jonesboro, where just so happened that Don was working. We have some other revelations that Don may have been down at the end of his road at around 11 a.m. because a red truck was in the ditch, and he was out there with law enforcement taking videos. I'm curious about that, because if he was there at 11, then his whole story that he got up that morning, went and got breakfast and headed off to work holds no water. And it also brings into play, well, why did he pull up in a red Subaru versus the white truck that he was seen with law enforcement that morning? So there's still a lot of things that are in the unknown category that have been thrown in that kind of gives me a little bit of pause and says, there's more to the story. But it's still, no matter how much I look at this, it keeps coming back to the same place and the same people involved.
Right. And I've done the same thing. I've tried to take all these different theories or things that I've heard, about the red truck, about Don, whether he's at work or not. I've tried to list these things down and put it into something that would make sense. And I get so lost and so frustrated, it just falls apart.
Yeah.
Like nothing, I can't make anything connect.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
It's a tough one. It's a tough one. And I'm glad that the YouTube community got the interviews out that they got. It's what we're relying on right now, that we're picking apart and dissecting right now to bring, possibilities to our audience that could have happened. And again, this is when I started this show yesterday, I told everybody this was going to be the speculation, hub for today, that this is just, purely for speculation, because that the clothing. I mean, every day that we come across something, or we reanalyze something, or we look in a little deeper, we have more conversation, more questions than answers.
Right. And as far as the speculation on accident being, at the swimming hole or at home, I thought the same thing as the other caller about maybe she was bitten by a snake.
Yeah.
So that's or a dry drowning type thing. But then when I look at home, one thing that keeps sticking in my mind over and over, how many times have we heard about the damn piece of candy?
Yeah.
Did she choke on that?
Good question. Everybody's been thinking the candy was, possibly medicine or something else. Maybe something as simple as her taking a piece of candy and nobody paying attention to her and her choking. Yeah. I mean, again, another piece, some more perspective.
Big deal about her going in and getting a piece of candy. I've heard that over and over and over. And I'm thinking, okay, well, what's with the damn piece of candy then?
Mm-hmm.
Did something happen? And, just strange.
Yeah.
I just, I think for me, I tend to always want to, in any situation where a child goes missing, I always want to give the parents the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But then you see these parents, you hear them, and they're full of shit.
Yeah. Well, in all fairness, we all did give them the benefit of the doubt back in June and July. But then when we started realizing their stories had this many holes in it, and people started putting, taking a piece of paper down and jotting down a timeline on it and, putting stuff together, they're like, wait a minute, there's all this time here not accounted for. What did they do during that time? And those holes have never been filled. I'm sorry. It just doesn't take 50 minutes to plant 3 small cactuses in a planter. I'm sorry, no matter how slow, even a sleuth, a living sleuth could plant 3 cactuses quicker than an hour.
So, you know what? Okay, so that just made me think of something. Jonathan, I believe it was Jonathan that did that timeline drive of how long it takes to get from Kingsport to Ben Hill.
Yeah.
Okay.
24
so
minutes.
What if we look at it as filling in the gaps of how long, we know Grandma did go to the doctor that day, right?
That's about everything. I think that's about the most we can confirm is that was a starting point, and we can confirm when the call was. Let's talk about it. What can we fully confirm without a doubt in our mind is that Grandis was at the doctor's appointment,
picked up the meds,
and we can't even confirm that because we don't have the ability to go to Walgreens and have them tell us yes they were here at this time. So we're.
Oh, I thought that was confirmed. I thought Chris McDonough.
Even if Chris McDonough did, law enforcement has it. And how did Chris McDonough get that information? So again, is it possible? Yes, I'm not disputing Chris McDonough. I just want to make sure that's clear. But what we as the citizens know for sure is that Grandis went to the doctor that morning. That is the starting place. And the ending place is the 6:30 call to law enforcement that a child was missing. Those are 2 things, without a doubt, hands down, that have been confirmed.
Right.
Everything in between that.
let's say that she did, that that they did pick up that medicine between noon or 1 o'clock, whatever it was. I can't remember. What I'm curious to find out is how long would it take for them to drive to Johannesburg then? If something was done there, if there was a drop off or whatever, I don't know. I don't even like to think about it or say it, but if they were to have sold Summer or, whatever.
Well, let's see here, because
what
I know
would be that ride to Johannesburg and back? Would that fill in that 3-hour time gap?
Yeah, let's see. I know Jonathan did something on his about that, which was really interesting. Let me see if I can find his. Maybe that'll. I know it was a while ago.
Yeah.
It was.
I only caught the part where he did from Kingsport to Ben Hill with the stops in between.
No, he actually went through the. Let me see if I can find it. It's been a while. Let's see if we can just find his. I'm going through his stuff right now. I know it was before that, but he actually did do a whole skit. If I can pull it up. Let me see if it's this one. Jonesboro. Did Candace plan to take Summer to meet Dawn? Here it is. Let me pull this up. This was from 2 weeks ago. Let me pull this up. Let's just see. We're going to have to watch a little, where is it? We're going to have to watch a little advertisement. But let's see what it is.
Jonathan Lee Riches, a.k.a. JLR, Justice for Summer Wells. Did Candace originally have plans to take Summer?
Oh, you know what? Let me get you. Hold on.
Tennessee.
Sorry, let me get her off the phone. I'm so sorry. Did I kick you off the phone?
No, I'm here.
Okay, let you go. I'm going to play this skit and then open the phones up to somebody else. I'll be right back with you.
Thank you so much, Andrea.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for all you do and good luck at the vigil.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. So let's go back. Wrong one. Hold on. There it is. Let's go back and listen to what JLR has to say. If this is the one, does he have the... No, this is not it. He has a map. This is not it. Hold on, guys. Let me find it. He had one with a map that he thought. Let me just see if there's another one on here. Where is it? There's one that he did. Hey guys, you're gonna have to wait just a second. Sorry, let me turn this off. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not. I'm looking for a video at the moment, so let me just turn the ringer off here. Where's Jonesboro? Instagram. Is this the one? Let me see if this is the one.
Jonathan Lee Riches, a.k.a. JLR, Justice for Summer Wells.
Oh.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for...
Sorry, guys. I wish I had it. I don't have it. It was one that he did, and he actually put up the... see if it's further back. He actually put up a map of the area he thought would be important. And I just can't for the life of me find it. And I don't know which one it was. 4-hour claim. Shot, Jody Sue, Andy Bernard. Father son, okay. I don't know where it's at. I'm going to have to probably, I'll try to see if I can reach out and see if there is. Oh, here, maybe it's this one. Hold on, let's see if this one's it. Sorry, guys.
Jonathan Lee Riches, aka JLR, Justice for Summer Wells.
Yeah, I don't know where it's at.
Some of the prior videos I just made, I was sharing that I've been reviewing.
I can't find it. I'll have to look in a little bit more for his, but he had one where he actually had a map of where Allie's house was, where Don was working, and where their house was on Ben Hill Road, and how he thinks that somewhere in this area, or potentially that Summer could have not made it home that day. And it was a really good map. And I'll have to find that. Maybe I'll bring that tomorrow, because tomorrow we're going to be discussing whether they made a second trip to the water hole or not. So I'll try to find that video on Jonathan's page by tomorrow so we can discuss that map. But he did some really good work in deciphering, where Hunter and Candace and Summer were, where Don was, where they were going. And he was trying to fill in the timeline, but also wanting to know, did Summer ever make it back home? He does not believe that Summer made it back home that day. I have a different belief that it's possible that she made it back home but never got out of the truck, which some people are starting to lean to. Do we know for a fact? We don't. Could it be one or the other? Could they have made a second trip out to the water hole? It's possible. That might explain a lot. So we are at the top of the 2 hours. Many of you guys know I need to go get my groceries. So I hope you guys had a fun morning discussing this case, calling in, giving your perspective. It's a sad story. This is without a doubt a sad story. And I think at the end of the day, the consensus is we just want justice for Summer. We want as much information as possible for her. And so hopefully we will get that in due time. But for the people that would love to come out, I know, gas is high, but it's one time to Rogersville. I believe it will be beneficial for everybody, to support this child, to support her, so she's not gone in vain. We want to thank law enforcement for all the work that they have done for this baby, which I guarantee we literally have no idea how much work law enforcement has put in trying to find baby Summer. We have no clue the amount of work. And we want to make sure that they are equally thanked for their service. And, we just keep coming back and keep trying to pick this case apart and see if anything of relevance pops out. A lot of speculation, when we're left to our own devices, there is a lot of speculation. What are the facts? The facts are Summer went with her mother in the morning on June 15th to take her grandmother to the hospital for her knee. Something happened or transpired throughout that day, and at 6:30 that evening, she was reported missing. Law enforcement was out there. I think law enforcement found out very quickly that this was not a standard run-of-the-mill, child wandering off, missing person, abduction type of thing. Because if they truly thought about that, let's look at Michael Vaughn's case. Let's not, without opinion on whether we believe the parents were involved or not, they immediately came out and said that there is evidence of an abduction in that case, that there is a high likelihood that Michael Vaughn was abducted and kidnapped. And so why did they come out and say that for Summer Wells, if they truly believed that to be true, right? We are going to start diving into the Michael Vaughn case because there's been some information that I have looked at that makes me a little uneasy. Many of you guys know I have said, talked about the Michael Vaughn's mom, how she comes out and she's fighting for her son and all this other stuff. But I went back and really looked at some of the videos there, and I don't know what I'm going to find. But the very first interview she gave, she was crying on screen. But when I blew it up, I didn't see one tear come down her face. So it's making me pause and say there might be a little something here, even if, you know, mom's good. I don't want to disparage anybody. I haven't dived into the case that much. That was only one video I watched that I took notice of, was the fact that she was crying on camera, but there were no tears. And I always remember, because most of you guys have been around when I covered the Susan Smith case, and there were some similar traits where she was on camera sobbing, but no tears. So does that mean anything? I don't know. We will dive into that case and see what we can, thank you, be if something is off. So some people, I guess there are some people that are saying the same thing. There are some things that just don't seem right there. So we'll see. Anyways, guys, I want to tell each and every one of you, God bless you. Thank you for showing up here. Thank you for spending 2 hours with me. You guys spent 2 hours with me this morning, and I appreciate every minute of it. You guys are amazing, beautiful people. I want you to have an amazing Tuesday. God bless you. Peace out. And don't forget to be fearless, folks.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Oh, and one last thing before I run. Thank you to all my mods for a great job. But 6 p.m. tonight, we have a special. It is about the recent grand jury in Hawkins County. So if you guys would like to hear some more information about that, please come back and join us at 6 p.m. tonight. Have a great day, guys.